Hey everyone, this is Staredcraft, and this has been a long time coming. I've been into comics for as long as I can remember. I've always been into video games, movies, cartoons, TV, anime, manga, you name it. Chances are I know it, and if I don't know it, then either I wasn't interested, or I haven't checked it out yet. Either way, I've been wanting to get into the online video making scene for ages now. Either as an internet reviewer, a la Linkara, Nostalgia Critic, AVGN, to doing video podcasts where you just hear my voice and no pictures. Well, I've decided instead of finally just meet in the middle and do this show. What's this going to be about, you're asking? Well, I'm glad you asked. To those of you who didn't ask, shut up. My biggest fascination in fiction has always been multiversal stories. Stories of parallel or alternate universes, what-ifs, Elseworlds, intercompany crossovers, because let's face it, those hardly ever count as canon. And what book am I going to grace you all today with? What book did I read that finally got me off my lazy ass to start a show like this? Well, that's the funny thing. Officially, this book is a what-if. In fact, it's one of the recent batches of what-ifs Marvel has done. The problem is that it's not a what-if whatsoever. It's not even one of those let's go Elseworld light type what-ifs the second volume of the title had put out near the end of its life. It's just... Wow. First, let me talk about this batch of what-ifs in general. They've been a mixed bag. Some were good, some were weird, and some had a very lying premise. But this? Just look at the full title first. What if Marvel Comics went metal with Ghost Rider? How is that a point of divergence? How is that a what if this happened with this character type story? Oh, I'll get to that one in a second. The cover... It's pretty dang good. I will give it that. I even like the parental advisory on the bottom. Will melt faces. I wish it melted my faces, until I didn't have to read this anymore. In the first page, we get a credits information that's both hardcore and yet infuriating. For starters, we get this heavy metal fun for the band name, but if you didn't already know it's called Hazenwald, you probably wouldn't be able to tell what it's saying. It looks like gibberish. But that's just me. I'm not a metalhead, I openly admit. The book was written by Sebastian Gerner, who's usually an editor at Marvel. Oh boy. Look, the guy's been editing some really good stuff at Marvel, like Jason Aaron's Punisher Max run. Yeah, I liked it, so what? But when an editor is writing a book and he has so few credits in that job, either he really has a story to tell, or they were desperate to fill a spot. But the thing is, there were 6 issues in this batch of what-ifs in a 5th-week month. The first 2 came out at the same time, yet they decided they had to add 1 more in, and it had to be this rubbish? Seriously, in some of the ads for the book, they don't even show this title. That's how last second this was. The artist is Caspar Wingard, however you say his name. He does a good job. The artwork matches the recent run of Ghost Rider. So I have no complaints here in that department. And what is this? A chapter index of this, as if this book was much larger than it appeared? Look, guys, this isn't a freaking novel or behind-the-scenes book or anything. It's a what-if book that happens to focus supposedly on a heavy metal band. The next page, we get an introduction and half an ad for the other what-ifs. See what I mean? This one doesn't even appear in the ad for these books in its own book. Anyway, the introduction asks, what if? More like, why the heck not? No. How about, why should we care? The rest of the introduction reads as if the events going on in the book are the real world. And yet, Ghost Rider is in it? What? The book actually starts with a 1-page summary about the band Hazenwald. They're apparently out of Latveria and have become so popular around the world, even in Wakanda, to... Timbuktu, really? We're going with that old gag? Whatever. But apparently they are associated with witchcraft and ritual sacrifices, demonic events. Oh, I'm sorry, allegedly associated with all that. And yet now they want to pull a Kiss moment and have a comic printed with their blood in the mix. And who's telling all this? C.B. Sapolsky, current EIC of Marvel. And he's telling this to Robbie Reyes, the current Ghost Rider. And yeah, I don't get this. It's supposed to be the real world, but for the sake of this being a what-if, we're to accept Robbie and the other areas of the Marvel Universe also exist. I I know that the Marvel Universe has its own Marvel comics, but this is just getting beyond meta. Now, Robbie here is the only sane mind, it seems, at Marvel. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Now, it seems here that Robbie is the only sane mind at Marvel. Yeah, he wouldn't last long there if this was the real Marvel Comics, you know what? I'm not going to go there. Anyway, he points out the negative side to having this band here, and Stevie basically says, "Who cares? Look at all the money they gave us. I'll make it rain." Wow. Is this why Marvel's gotten that bad? Because people have thrown money for them to ignore their values? Anyway, we meet the band, and there's 3 members. Garrus, Ute, and Chris. You know, the usual metalhead types. When Abby asks them if they're fans, Chris says he likes the movies. Ute says she's into manga. Garrus is the only real fan. He's even got sketchbooks with signatures. He's the diehard. What follows is Robbie giving them a tour and them acting like complete goofballs. Then it's time for the printing. Apparently, Marvel Comics has run on the same printer all this time, pulled by a mule? Okay. Yeah, this kind of explains a lot. It doesn't explain anything at all. Well, now that they're ready to do the deed, we start to see there may be some truth to that sacrifice dark magic stuff to them as they prepare themselves with markings on their face, and they put the blood in by slitting their wrists. Once the blood is mixed in and the books print off incredibly fast and are already being tossed into the trucks, shouldn't we wait for it to dry first, or are the flames cooking them just right? We see the books are printing is the book we're reading right now. Okay, wait a minute, what? Seriously? This makes no sense, even from a meta perspective. Ugh. Anyway, Robbie, like a dumbass, did I say he had the most common sense? Yeah, I kind of take that back right now. He watches everything unfold as the band starts a ritual to summon a demon, and they are reborn as monsters, and the printing press is possessed, along with the mule. Of course. Soon, the comics drive off with the cargo of possessed books as Robbie gives chase. In the car, read the current ghostwriter, it makes more sense there, and he fails. Seriously, the truck goes right off a damaged highway, explodes in the air, and releases its cargo for everyone to read and get equally possessed. With that happening, apparently this one shipment was spread across the world, infecting it and causing the world to reshape and reform as Robbie in his car falls right through it in this really well-drawn 2-page splash as the band still talks to Robbie about how reality is a story susceptible to edits and rewrites, and God, it's almost done. We then see the band in a desolated world, and they are now apparently monolithic statues that warn Robbie that he is all that's left of his world for some reason, and he ends up in a half-finished version of the world. And yet, somehow, it seems normal enough to him. How is this place normal to you, Robbie? We didn't see a theater that says, Hasselwell kills the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah, screw you too, comic. We end this trash with Ghost Rider driving off into a demonic elder-possessed version of New York, thinking he may not be able to fix anything, but he's going to try. And the comic ends on a basically black page with the caption, "Give him hell." Seriously, overall this book just made no sense, and it, like I said, was not a what-if whatsoever. In fact, aside from the cause of all this being a heavy metal band, how did Marvel get metal exactly? Or was the fact the band existed that caused it to go metal? And what was even the point of all this? What did it have to say? Look, the artwork is fine, and I enjoyed the jabs at Sobalski, and Robbie is written mostly in character, but it does not need to be made at all. I do not recommend this book, unless you're a completionist like I am, but even then, don't bother reading it. It's not worth it. That's my first episode, and keep in mind, I'm experimenting with formats until I find out which fits me best. I hope you will come back and next time and like, share, and subscribe to my video. I really hope this takes off. Thanks again. See ya.